My name is Derick Okolie, and I am the VP of Marketing at Dreamville and co-founder of The Fiends. I've been working in music for almost 15 years now. The movie of Derick Okolie is crazy, bro. I've been living it for mad long, but I've had to deal with myself where you look in the mirror and it's like, yo, it's what I do, does that define who I am? And the reality is you define who you are. Every single person needs to understand that, you know, there's things you can't control and there's things you can't control. You can't be scared to try something new. Everybody's journey different, but don't be that shook. I'm a born and raised New Yorker. Yeah, I grew up in Queens. Used to get into a bunch of trouble when I was a little kid. They wanted to put me in like special education classes. They ended up testing my IQ and they're like, oh, he's smart. He's not really a problem child. And that was the first time I was taken out of like where I grew up to go to a Maspeth, which is like a, you know, all-white town. Met a bunch of good friends there. Then ended up going to St. Francis Prep, one of the biggest Catholic high schools in the country for high school. That's where I met Boss. I met Eve as well. He went to a rival high school. And you know, I toyed around with a couple other schools. I played football in high school. I was pretty decent until I wasn't. So I had like dreams of going on scholarship places. None of that manifested. But honestly, going to NYU was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like, New York City teaches you so much more about the world than, you know, getting drunk at a frat house is gonna teach you. So like, I always said it was like a 4-year head start on me figuring out, you know, what business I wanted to get into, how I was gonna make some bread, and more importantly, like it allowed me to figure out like who I was and what I wanted to do in this world. When I was at NYU, I was a sports marketing major, wanted to be Jerry Maguire. I was the manager of the basketball team, and you know, that comes with all these interesting people at NYU from all different places in the world, different classes, different religions, everything. You kind of look for something to call each other, and we just started calling each other fiends because like, that's what we were, you know? Like, we have this motto that the great uniter is that everybody fiends for something. It could be your family, it could be money, it could be water, it could be, you could be a foodie, whatever it is. One of the homies, Clay, me and him just started blogging every day. You know, there was a couple of days where we were hitting like, you know, 150,000 people visiting the website, and this is just shit we're doing like in between class or internships and stuff. We started The Fiends in 2010. It started off with like, all right, cool, let me get you with some studio time. I remember I got fired from a job and I got like a severance check of like $10,000. I was like, all right, cool, we're gonna shoot some music videos, we're gonna do all this shit. You know, there's been a lot of contentious conversations about unpaid internships. And I've had paid internships and I've had unpaid internships. The paid internships were companies that I would never want to fucking work for in my whole life, but they paid me and that shit definitely helped. And then the unpaid internships, I was down to do whatever it took to fucking learn that. So that's Nike, that's fucking New York Magazine, that's Dreamville. I was just able to learn the whole business model from the ground up, from a place there where like we didn't know shit, we didn't know anybody, we knew Cole, but like we were also not, we weren't like 19, 20, we were a little older, so like we didn't want to be nuisances, we never asked for no money, we never asked for, yo, can you plug us here, can you plug us there? We just decided, you know, let's move accordingly, let's take our time, let's dedicate ourselves. But there was literally times where we'd pull up to a show and I'd go set up the merch. I'd go do a sound check. I would DJ. I'd also have my camera on stage and be taking pictures while I was DJing. It wasn't until I seen video of me doing that where I was like, I look ridiculous. I can't be doing that. It's always been a situation where, at Dreamville, but with the Fiends too, where it's, if you want to do something, say something. And if you have an idea, you know, there's a bunch of people, there's a whole support system that'll try to help you accomplish that. I sat down, I hit one of my old professors from NYU and I was like, yo, I'm at this crossroads where I realized I don't want to do this path. What should I do? And he said, yo, I asked you once in class if you could do one thing for the rest of your life, what would you do? And I remember telling him like, oh, I love Nike commercials. Like since I was a kid, like Mars Blackman, the fucking basketball one with the, everybody know that shit. So I told him that and he was like, all right, pursue that. Like try to find a way into the advertising world. So like I was on Facebook looking through all my mutuals, seeing how I could get to certain agencies. There was an agency called Project 2050 and it was like a multicultural agency. They pitched a lot of black work, a lot of Latinx work, Spanish work. And the funniest shit happened was Boss and Eve's brother, DJ MoMA, who runs Everyday People now. He was friends with both co-founders. So I was like, all right, bet, that's my in. That's how I'm gonna get to these guys. If I didn't have that job in entertainment and media and advertising, I wouldn't be sitting on this couch today. When I started in advertising, I was like, oh, this is dope. Like, I'm just getting paid to be a cool black kid, because that's really what it was. I was a cool black kid growing up my whole life, and then I walked into a place where they're like, we'll pay you for that. Like, tell us what you think is cool. So I was in there just like wide-eyed, this is awesome. This is the most money I'm ever getting. Then I went to another agency, which I won't say the name because I don't want to blow this shit up, but it was all British homies. They were telling me how to sell stuff to black people. And it was like, some of the shit that clients would say, some of the shit that they would say was just so disenfranchising and just some real asshole shit. Like, and I don't even know if they understood what they were doing. They probably did because it was grown-ups, but like, it started to really fucking eat at me inside. And then just one day I had a fucking panic attack where I realized that like all the things as people that like make us insecure come from advertising. Like, oh, your car is whack. If you had this car, your life would be better. Oh, she don't like you, but if you buy this, you could get her love. And it was just like, you feel gross doing what you're doing, but then you start to panic. Like, if I don't continue to be really good at this, I'm not gonna have money. I'm gonna have to move back to Left Rack with my parents, and that's not what I wanted to do. So it was this like cyclical thing, and luckily the music shit started to really take off. It was probably, I wanna say my junior year at NYU. Boss gave me the warm-up to the warm-up. So it was just like a sampler that Cole had made to try to get signed pretty much. It was after the come up. And I remember listening to it and being like, oh shit, this is like really good. And I wasn't sure if I was just being biased or not. So I did give it to a couple of the homies just to like gauge it. And like the rap nerd homies were like, yo, this shit's amazing. Like, who is this kid? Blah, blah, blah. I was just like, oh, this nigga's actually gonna be like recognized as one of the best rappers, you know, for our generation period. And yeah, it happened. There was kids that I thought were gonna be way more famous than Cole that I knew like, oh, he's not gonna be as good as him. Wrong. Your old self don't know shit. Remember that always. Once I realized that, like, yo, I was a street team. Like, that's what we were. And I was just playing his records all over campus. And yeah, I remember it was Blueprint 3, Cole signed in Rock Nation, and they wanted to see him perform because they wanted to see if he was gonna go out on the Blueprint 3 tour. He called me like, yo, what if we did a show at NYU? Like, we need a venue, like, could we maybe do it there? And like, before I'd figured anything out, I was like, yeah, 100%, I got you, don't even worry about it. I was in North Carolina, I was in Wilmington at the homie Cheem's crib, like visiting, just like on some like random summer shit. I called my homegirl Shilpa, she works at Spotify now, doing a bunch of running podcasts or something over there. But I called her and I'm like, yo, I need to get to an organization on campus. And there was an organization called GQ, Gentlemen Equality. It was like the all black organization, I wasn't in it. She put me in contact with a dude named Caleb, and he was like, yo, we'll do everything. If you bring Cole, we'll pretty much do everything. He went to school in Clive Davis, which is the big music program at NYU. So like, I didn't know that he had the whole kit and caboodle ready. He had press, he had sponsorships, he did all this shit. And yeah, it was sold out. It was a great show. Cole brought out a live band, I'll never forget that. I remember all the Rock Nation folks and all the industry folks were on the top, and then it was all NYU kids on the bottom. I think that was like the first time for me that I had seen something from start to finish that was just out of my brain. This is like real early days, like when Dreamville label is like years in the future. No one's thinking about none of that shit. It was really all about Cole and figuring out, can we help Cole achieve his dreams? They went into a meeting in Rock Nation to see like a marketing plan. I think it was for Sideline Story. And I just remember getting the marketing plan and like reading through it and just being like, damn, if I turned this in at NYU for like a final, I would have failed out of school. It was like, they were clearly just starting up. It was that world where they didn't even understand the power of blogs. Social media wasn't even booming yet. So it was like, you know, it was a changing of the guard as far as breaking an artist, marketing an artist, figuring out how to give an artist the opportunity to make their music, but also be successful. So I was like, I'm just gonna pop shit. I'm just gonna talk as much shit as possible, because that's just inherently who I am, is I'm a shit talker. So I just started talking shit. This doesn't make sense. That's a corny fucking idea. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And VP of marketing now, so might not work for you, but worked for me. It was January 28, 2014. We announced that we had signed a deal with Interscope. We dropped Revenge of the Dreamers 1, which was the first time as a crew we were like, all right, cool, let's put some music out. It was the first time we'd ever, like that concept that eventually, you know, got us to the Grammys and like was a big moment in our lives. This is not just me like getting high and thinking about shit like, all right, cool, now we might have like a real chance to leave an impact on, you know, sounds corny, but like leave an impact on the world. It was probably a year or so later, Cole flew us down to Raleigh at the shelter and sat down and broke out an organizational structure. And that was the time it went from me being like legitimately like an intern where I'm working 9 to 5 in the advertising industry, and then 5 to 9, I'm like running to the studio to be around Cole, to be around Boss. This is when Cole was trying, and then Boss ain't even really know he wanted to be like a full rapper yet, and it was like just me in his ear, like let's go, let's get you working kind of shit. Those are probably the 2 biggest days. The third day that I really remember was the second time we did The Garden, and my dad, who didn't even come to the show, me and him have, you know, we have our weird dad relationship, dad-son relationship, but I'll tell you this much, he told me to be a nurse or a real estate agent every time we spoke until that time. And he was like, so tell me about this record deal you guys signed. And I was like, all right, bet. So now you see what's going on. And yeah, those are probably like 3 of the biggest days as far as like to come up to a place where I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna dedicate the next 10 years of my life to doing this. You know, I don't think there'll ever be a place and time where I'm not supporting the people in my life that I believe deserve a larger platform. Cole was the first person where I was like, yo, I'll dedicate my time and energy to helping. Boss was the second person. But then, you know, Jid, Ari, Earth Gang, Kaz, Omen, Loot, like, I don't think there's a world where I stop caring about Dreamville and working with them. But like, you know, me and Boss signed a group from London called the Hicks. And it's like, you know, they've given me some fresh perspective because, you know, you go from $1 million budgets to $10,000 budgets, and it gives you that perspective shift. Yeah, the people that I care about in music, I'll always continue to help. But personally, I think the next step for me is Derick. Like, you know, like putting that focus on myself and what I want to do. I think manager, which, you know, I probably see myself as a manager before I am a VP of marketing because that's the shit that I care about the most. But the term manager is one that in this industry, it's like a double-edged sword. There's gonna be the people that'll wake up and try to help you out before they do anything. And that's kind of like the manager I am, to like my own detriment as far as like my health sometimes, you know? So I'm probably will continue to work with the select people that I work with. That's why I don't take on clients. That's why we don't sign that many people at Dreamville, because it's like you don't want to sell people a list of goods that you're not going to actually provide. But I think for me, I got a bunch of ideas that I want to make happen. Film, TV. Just want to keep making cool shit with cool people. That's really it.